Please subscribe the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Botanica. So, previously we have discussed in the various topics under the heading of respiration, which are various modifications of the respiration, like what we have discussed about the pentose phosphate pathway, we have discussed about the glyxylate cycle, and various other things which we have discussed under the heading of, or the main heading of, which we can say that the umbrella term respiration. And these all the topics we have studied in the respiration. But we have one topic which we haven't studied in the process of, in the topic under photosynthesis, and we have left with. So that is the synthesis of starch and sucrose, which in other terms it is called as allocation of the carbon which is fixed during the process of photosynthesis. So we have discussed about the photosynthesis. This is the overview of the photosynthesis. तो photosynthesis की जब हम बात करते हैं, तो ये हमने जब photosynthesis को डिस्कस कर रहे थे, हमने बात की थी the light reaction of the photosynthesis and the light independent reaction of the photosynthesis, which we call Calvin cycle, light independent process, light independent pathway of the photosynthesis as well. So what happens here? Water enters. All the process is occurring here in the chloroplast. So by using the light, what happens in the light reaction of the photosynthesis? Water enters here. Electrons from the water, they are energized, they are excited, and what we get after the light reaction, we get ATP and NADPH, which will go to the Calvin cycle. And here in the Calvin cycle, there after when this particular cycle is complete, what we get, there is a product of sugar which we call triose sugar, or G3AP or GA3P, which we call glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Mostly the sugars are of 3 carbon, and these NADP and ADP which are used here in the Calvin cycle, they go back to the light reaction, and this cycle will continue. So what we have discussed the process of photosynthesis, we have discussed the process, but this particular term sugar is not does not mean that when carbon is extracted from the Calvin cycle, which is fixed from the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide, it is directly formed into a sucrose or starch or any other sugar form which can be used. But this particular triose sugar should be converted into a form either to translocate to various other parts of the plant, or it has to be stored in the seeds or in the other parts of the plant to later utilize it when there is no light. So this is the overview, the reactions of the photosynthesis, light and independent cycle, and this is the synthesis. What happens here, the light and carbon dioxide, these both are required in the photosynthesis. What happens, the CO2 or carbon dioxide is fixed in the chloroplast. So what happens, what we will get, triose phosphate की जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, these are the sugars, triose phosphate, but we have written here the sugar, the term triose phosphate here in the here in the chloroplast. So what happens, the triose phosphate, either it will form a starch for the storage purpose, and or it can be translocated, or it may be transported out of the chloroplast, and in the cytosol there is a synthesis of a sucrose which will be transported to other parts of the plant. So here now we have discussed till the synthesis of the triose phosphate, but we haven't discussed about the synthesis of starch and sucrose. So now we are going to discuss these both processes, how the starch is synthesized in the chloroplast and how the sucrose synthesis occur, and what are the different conditions where these two reactions are competing. So carbon, either the carbon which is fixed here in the Calvin cycle, it is fixed in the, or it is allocated in the form of a starch, or it is allocated in the form of a sucrose. So this is called, that's why this particular reaction is also called the allocation of the carbon, or carbon allocation. So in many plants, as we have many thousands and hundreds and thousands of plants in the flowering plant, there are hundreds and thousands of species of the plant. So what we have, some plants like the soybean, the spinach, which we call the Spinaceae, Oleracea, and tobacco store excess photoassimilate as starch in the chloroplast. So as far as some plants of the some flowering plants are concerned, the most of the plants, they store their food in the form of a starch. So this is also called photoassimilate. Why it is called photoassimilate? Because it is formed because of the photosynthesis. So that's why we have written photo, and assimilation, it is the alternative name for the fixing of something. So that's why the carbon which is fixed, the compound which is formed after the photosynthesis, that is called the photoassimilate. So either it will be starch or it will be a sucrose, and starch is synthesized in the chloroplast while sucrose will be synthesized out of the chloroplast. So while others such as wheat, barley and oats, these all are the grasses family from the family Poaceae. They accumulate little starch but temporarily hold large amount of sucrose in the vacuole. So this depends upon the nature of the species. So what species we are talking about? There are many plants which store their excess food in the form of a starch, but there are many plants, and mainly from the family of Poaceae, like sugarcane. Sugarcane, there is a large and abundant amount of sucrose instead of the starch. So it depends upon the species from which family it belongs. So why some are the plants which store starch and others store the sucrose, but most of the plants in the flowering plants, they store their excess food in the form of a starch. So appropriation of a carbon fixed by the PCR cycle. So we are talking about the carbon cycle, the Calvin cycle, into either starch or sucrose biosynthesis is called carbon allocation. So the carbon which is fixed from the atmosphere in the form of a CO2. So in which form it is allocated? Either it is allocated to form or it is used to form the starch, or it is used to form the sucrose. So this process is called carbon allocation. So you can be asked in a paper that to discuss the process of carbon allocation or to explain this particular mechanism of carbon allocation. So it means that we are talking about the starch and sucrose synthesis. We are talking about both. We are not talking only about the starch. We are talking about both the synthesis of starch as well as the sucrose. So the starch and sucrose will later be mobilized. What means mobilized? They are transported, they are translocated to various other parts to support respiration and other metabolic needs at night or during periods of limited photosynthetic output. So when there is a abundant photosynthesis, when there is enough light to carry out the photosynthesis, then there is enough food for the plant to use at that particular time for the metabolism, and there is also some extra food, excess food, which is stored either in the form of a sucrose or in the form of a starch. So this particular food which is stored either starch or in the form of a sucrose, it will be mobilized, it will be translocated to support respiration. Why respiration? Because in the respiration the starting material are the carbohydrates, normally either sucrose in the plants or glucose in the animals, and other metabolic needs at night when there is a low limited light or there is a limited light activity. So there is a need of food. So that particular food which is stored in the form of a starch or sucrose, it will be used to carry out the normal metabolism. So as far as in most species, the sucrose is the principal form of carbohydrate translocated throughout the plant by the phloem. So as far as the translocative form of the carbohydrate is concerned in the plants, it is a sucrose which is translocated to the various form of the plant, various organs of the plants where it is needed, and it is not the sucrose, if it is not the glucose. If glucose is needed, then sucrose is broken down and it will be converted into its constituent parts, and its constituent chemicals, its constituent monosaccharides can be then used for any other pathway. But when there is when we talk about the translocation or the loading, unloading, and the phloem transport, we talk about the sucrose. There the carbohydrate or the sucrose will move to the organs where it is needed. While the starch in contrast to the starch, is an insoluble stable carbohydrate reserve that is present in almost all plants. So as we have discussed, in many plants it is starch, or in other plants it is the sucrose. So it is not the case that either there will be only starch or there only will be sucrose, but these two molecules are present in every species, almost every species. So their proportion and concentration may be differ in one species or the other, but they are present in all the plants, either in less concentration or in high concentration, high amount. So as far as the starch is concerned, it is a semi-crystalline molecule and it is insoluble in water, and that's why it is stable carbohydrate as compared to the sucrose. And sucrose is soluble in the water, but it is mobilized in the soluble form to the other organs of the plant. So both starch and sucrose are synthesized from the triose phosphate that is generated by the Calvin cycle. So as far as their sources are concerned, from where they are synthesized, the carbon which is fixed during the Calvin cycle, these both molecules, either it will be starch or it will be sucrose, these both are synthesized from triose phosphates, which are 3 carbon compounds and phosphate attached to it. So that's why we are calling it triose phosphate. And where they are generated, they are formed during the process of Calvin cycle or PCR cycle. So first we talk about the starch composition and synthesis of the starch, biosynthesis of the starch. So as far as the composition of the starch is concerned, this is the dominant storage carbohydrate in higher plants, is the carbohydrate polysaccharide starch, which exists in 2 forms. So as far as the storage compound is concerned, so starch is a storage compound. So when there is a plenty of light available, plenty of other factors which are involved in the photosynthesis, they are available. So then there is a higher rate of a photosynthesis. All the enzymes are saturated and there is a stable point, or we can say that all the capacity which the plant have, it will be used to synthesize the sugars. But plant at certain time needs a limited food, and the excess of food will be stored, and that particular type in the form which the polysaccharides or the carbohydrates are stored, that is the starch. And this particular starch exists in 2 forms, either it is amylose, which is a linear polymer of glucose created by linking adjacent glucose residues between the first and fourth carbon. So as far as the starch composition is concerned, we are going to discuss it in the detail. Either it will be amylose or it will be amylopectin. As far as the amylose is concerned, it is a linear polymer, so the glucose molecules are joined end to end. There is no branching in the amylose. So one molecule of glucose is connected to other, is joined to other in the linkage which we call alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. But in what we call the amylopectin, it is similar to amylose in the respect that there is a alpha 1,4 glucan linkage, but there is an occasional alpha 1,6 linkage. So this particular linkage, alpha 1,6 linkage, make it a branched molecule, and branching, where the branching will be occur, it will be 24 to 30 glucose residues create a branched molecule. So as far as these two are concerned, amylose is a linear molecule where there is a alpha 1,4 linkage, alpha 1,4 glucan, alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage, and in amylopectin, along with this particular alpha 1,4 linkage, there is a occasional branching, what we call at the point of carbon number 1 and carbon number 6, and this particular linkage, where it occurs as a 24 to 30 glucose residue. So but similar type of compound, what we call the glycogen, is stored in the animals, and it is very much similar to the starch, but it differs mainly in this particular respect, that in the glycogen the branching is at every 10th molecule, glucose molecule. So it is more extensive branching in the glycogen, but here in the starch the branching is comparatively less. So there are 30 glucose, after the 30 glucose molecule there is a branch at 1,6 alpha 1,6, but in glycogen the linkage is at after 10 glucose residues. So there will be more linkage, more extensive linkage. So these two molecules are similar, but the branching pattern is different in these two, as one molecule serves as a storing materials, storage food in the plants and other in the animals. So there is a question that why starch, not the glucose. So why the food molecules or the food, excess food is stored in the form of a starch and not in the form of a glucose or sucrose or any other form? So the answer to it is there are two possible reasons. So glucose is a relatively unstable compound. What it means, the unstable compound, since its aldehyde group can be spontaneously oxidized to a carboxyl group. So it contains a free hydroxyl group which can be oxidized or which can be used or which can react with the other molecule, and which can change its nature. So when there is a need for the food and glucose is not in the free form and it will be joined with the other form, so it cannot be used for the respiration purposes. But therefore glucose is not suitable carbohydrate storage compounds, moreover for osmotic reasons. So first reason is that it has a free hydroxyl group, so they have free aldehyde group which can be spontaneously oxidized to carboxyl group, which will change its nature. And other reason is the glucose is not a suitable carbohydrate storage compound, that it has osmotic reasons. So what are the osmotic reasons? So if, as we know that monosaccharides are soluble in the water, so when they are soluble in water, when they are soluble in the cell, so what will happen when they dissolve in that particular cell? So it will change the osmotic pressure or osmotic balance of the cell. So what will happen, there is a limited storage capacity for monosaccharides. So as they are dissolved, as they are soluble in the cell, so there is also a limited capacity for monosaccharide. So that particular limit, if that capacity is increased, so what will happen, it will affect the osmotic balance of the plant, osmotic pressure of the plant. So it will affect the overall nature of the cell. But as far as the starch is concerned, it is inert material. So by polymerization of the glucose, so that is the simple glucose which is formed after the PCR cycle. It is that particular simple glucose molecule which are simply polymerized, which are linked to one another, and which will convert it into inert starch. So why we are calling it inert starch? It has linked with the osmotic region, osmotic potential. So when there is a inert starch or the insoluble starch, the semi-crystalline molecule of the starch do not dissolve in the cell, and they can be stored in large amount without affecting the osmotic potential of the cell. So if osmotic potential of the cell due to monosaccharide increases, or it will be a negative value, so water will enter spontaneously into the cell and it will have a more negative region, adverse effect on the cell. So that's why the food is stored in the form which will not or which should not affect the osmotic potential of that particular cell. So that's why food is not stored in the form of a glucose or in the soluble form, it is stored in the insoluble form. Large quantity of glucose molecules can be deposited in a cell without affecting an increase in the osmotic potential of the cell sap. So we are talking about the starch. Large quantities of glucose in the form of starch can be deposited in a cell. So when they are polymerized, when they are in the chain form, when they are in the starch form, so they are same the glucose molecule. So they are stored, large amounts can be stored in the cell, which will not affect also its osmotic potential. So when there is a need of a glucose, the starch breakdown will occur and glucose molecules can be used directly for the respiration process. The glucose molecule and starch are primarily connected by alpha-1,4-glycosidic linkage. So what is the difference between the glucose and the starch? These linkages protect the aldehyde groups of the glucose molecules against oxidation. So as there are the free hydroxyl group at carbon number 1 and 4 of the glucose molecules, and linkage also occur here. So those hydroxyl groups are now joined to one another. So now there is a no free hydroxyl group, as we also have seen that when two glucose molecules are joined with one another, they are linked with one another. So what will happen, these two molecules will be joined and water molecule will be lost. So what will happen, those two hydroxyl molecules which were now first free, so now they are linked with one another and there is a no free aldehyde group or which will can be oxidized. So only the first glucose molecule is unprotected. So here is the case. So what will happen? So we have carbon number 1 and carbon number 4 of the glucose molecule. So what will happen? This particular carbon number 1 and carbon number 4. So this is again with carbon number 1 of another glucose molecule and fourth carbon of this particular glucose molecule. So here we again have a 1,4 alpha 1,4 linkage, and it is the occasional branching in amylopectin alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. So here we have a total of 6 glucose molecules, what we have seen in the example. So but only one, or the first glucose molecule is its aldehyde group is free, and it contains free hydroxyl group which can be oxidized, aldehyde group which can be oxidized, but it do not contain any other hydroxyl or aldehyde group which is free. So all are used to make alpha 1,4 bonding. So it will make it a protective molecule, so which cannot be bound, or it cannot be oxidized, or it cannot be changed into another form. So this particular hydroxyl group are free here. So these hydroxyl groups are used to elongate these molecules for several thousands or number of the glucose molecules. So it depends upon the nature of the molecule. So this is the simple structure of the glucose, of the amylose and amylopectin, and how it is synthesized. So we are going to discuss it in further lecture.